Hey YouTube, I have been wanting to do this video for like 4 years now, but I wasn't really sure how to do it, and I didn't really want to do it until I was better. But this is going to be my story with IBS. So shortly after I had my son, I started getting terrible stomach pain pretty much after every single time I ate. It started out slow, so it wasn't every time right at first. It was like maybe every other meal, 2 or 3 times a day. I would get excruciating stomach pain where I was in the bathroom screaming, and I mean screaming in agonizing pain, and I literally thought my intestines were just going to come out. And I would have diarrhea all the time, and it continued like that. And I called my doctors a few times about it, and they kept saying, oh, it's probably just a stomach bug, because he was born in winter, so it very well at that point could have been a stomach bug. I see where they were coming from. So I continued to do what they said, eat small meals, drink lots of water, etc., etc. I got to the point where I just wasn't getting better. So I went back again. They ran all sorts of like blood work and stuff. They thought maybe it was my thyroid and yada yada yada. All the blood work came back normal. It didn't look like there was anything wrong. So again, they just said, you know, it's probably just nothing. Just eat more frequent meals, smaller meals, whatever. When I was to the point where I was so sick, I couldn't even, no one could come near my stomach. This whole area was just sensitive to me. If I slightly touched it, I would be running to the bathroom. If someone even made mention of going to the bathroom or like went like this, like they were in pain, run to the bathroom. My son even, who was, 2, 3 at the time, 1, 2, 3, he went through the whole thing with me. When he got to the point where he could understand, he would sit there and say, oh, my stomach hurts, and he would do what I was doing because that's what he was seeing me do. So I went back to my doctor again, and she put me on something called benzoate, I believe, something like that. It starts with a B, and it's supposed to, I say in quotes, help with slowing down your digestive system, because what happens with IBS, with most people, the ones that have diarrhea anyways, is that as soon as the food hits your stomach spasms, and then it just shoots everything out really fast. So that's what was happening to me. Within like 5 minutes of eating a meal, I would be in the bathroom crapping out that same meal and in excruciating pain. So she gave me this stuff, and it's supposed to help. I took it religiously, and it didn't help. So I just stopped taking it because I don't like taking stuff. I don't like medication. I'm not a big fan of it. And when I don't feel like it's helping, I'm not going to take it. The side effects are worse than the symptoms I'm having. So I stopped taking that. I went back to her, and she was like, well, let's get you in with a gastroenterologist. I think you need to have, some more testing, some more serious testing that we can't really do. And there were really some days where I wondered how I was not dying, how I was not malnourished, because it was like I was eating, and immediately the food was just out of me. And I couldn't fathom how I'm eating very little food because I'm skipping these huge gaps of time when I'm at work and things, and I'm crapping it all out. I'm like, how is my body absorbing anything in that short amount of time? How am I not dying? And I had asked my doctor, I'm like, how am I not malnourished? How, because I still weighed 163 at the time, and I was always bloated, and just how am I not losing weight like crazy? How am I staying alive and not becoming anemic and all sorts of other things when food is coming out of me so quick? And they had no explanation for anything. So I started seeing a gastroenterologist, and he was like, well, we're going to do a colonoscopy. So I'm like, oh, great. Here I am, 22 years old, and I'm going to have a colonoscopy. That's fun. So I'm like, okay. So we set it up. I had to go through that 48-hour, 24-hour period. I don't remember how long it was. I think I had the 48-hour, which made it even worse because I had 3 or 4 drinks that I had to drink, and oh, it's bad. So I went through all that and went and had my colonoscopy. Everything looked fine. Perfect. Wonderful. So at that point he was like, well, I guess since everything looks so good, we're going to do an upper GI because, we've got to get this pain under control for you because you're crying. Crying and screaming in pain every time you go to the bathroom and you're having diarrhea. I was going, at that point, when I finally got to the gastroenterologist stage, I was going to the bathroom literally 15 or 16 times a day, and I was starving myself because I was working at that point. So So I would wake up in the morning 3 hours before my shift, which sucked. But I had to, in my mind, I knew I had to wake up because I had to eat, and then I had to give myself that time to be sick. So I would eat as soon as I woke up, get around for work, be sick 4 or 5 times, and then I would be like, I have to go to work. So right before leaving for work, I would go 3 or 4 more times because of the nervousness or whatever of having to go to work. And so I would go and go and go and go. Then at work, I would be okay most times because I had been 3 hours since I'd eaten, and I would starve myself for that 5-hour time that I was at work. Then I would get home and I would eat a huge meal, and then I'd be in excruciating pain and sick and yada yada yada. So I did that for a year while I was working there. I would just starve myself for the time frames that I was there. So after we did the upper GI, everything again looked normal. It did go through my system quite fast, the chalk stuff that you have to drink. They did make note of how quick it goes because they had told Matt, oh, it's going to take like 2 to 4 hours because it's got to go all the way through her whole tract, and we have to be able to take pictures of that. Well, when they went back after like 20 minutes for my first pictures, it was already all the way through. So it obviously had moved through my system fast, but they had no explanation of why. So after the upper GI, I went back because that was like my doctor sent me to do it. So I went back with the gastroenterologist doctor. After that, we had a little meeting, and he wanted to put me on a high cholesterol medicine on the off chance that it would cause constipation. And then he also gave me that benzoate again, and I got both of the prescriptions. I said, great. Did not take them. No, I did not. I am not going to take a high cholesterol medicine at 22 years old when I don't have high cholesterol, and when it does have crazy side effects, and that's like high cholesterol is a serious, drug. And it's not something you can just go on and off. So if it didn't work for me, I wouldn't be able to just go off that. I would have had to wean myself off it, and it would have been a huge debacle. And so I was like, no, I'm just going to stay sick then. That's fine. I'm just going to stay sick. I've lived this way for 3 years. I'm just going to stay sick. And I had follow-up appointments with him that I just never went to. At that point, I lost confidence in him because there's not really a medicine for IBS that is like a legitimate medicine just for irritable bowel syndrome because it's so misunderstood. Some people say it's from stress, some people say it's from, gluten and whatever. There's all sorts of causes of it. At this point, I think that's kind of ridiculous because I have fixed myself without doing any drugs that doctors have given me, no tests. It wasn't a guinea pig. That was my big thing. I didn't want to be a guinea pig. But since I've gotten better and I've been so good for these 6 months, I haven't had any pain. I haven't had any diarrhea. None. No pain at all. I mean, I can eat and eat and eat, and I am not in pain. It is the most amazing thing. It is like I have a new life. It's like I'm a normal person again. I can go places without worrying about crapping my pants, which was a legitimate concern of mine when I was sick. I would literally stay home and do nothing. I didn't go to family functions. I didn't go to the grocery store. I didn't do things unless I starved myself for long periods of times beforehand and starved myself while I was there. I couldn't go places. So it's just amazing to see the difference. Because I remember I remember being in the bathroom and screaming and crying and yelling for someone to please help me and asking for my doctors to help me and wanting so bad for there to be something to help me. And for the longest time there wasn't. So that's what happened there. And after seeing him, I just started looking into things myself and made some big changes diet-wise and stress-wise. And yeah, so look out for that video. I'm going to be doing that probably within a couple days here. But I just wanted to explain my story before so that you would know just how bad I was and how good I am now, so that you know that you have hope and you can feel better and you will feel better. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.